Hello everyone, I'm Dipinti Manandar, currently studying MTech at IIT Jodhpur in Computer Science and Engineering Department. As a part of our Virtualization in Cloud Computing course assessment, uh, I have created three different virtual machines using VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox Managers, and named it as VM M20CS0201, 2 and 3 respectively. I've already started these all virtual machines, so it's showing running. I have installed Ubuntu on all these virtual machines. So our main task is we need to install a web server in virtual machine 1, and in virtual machine 2 we need to install a database, and then from virtual machine 3 we need to access the uh, web uh, application um, application. So in virtual machine 1 I have installed Apache web server. So let's check it out if it's correctly installed or not. Service Apache 2 status. Here we can see that Apache 2 has been installed properly. Similarly, in virtual machine 2, we need to install a database. So I have installed MySQL database in this virtual machine 2. So let's check it as MySQL u root p. Typing my password. Here we can see that MySQL has been correctly installed in this virtual machine 2. Now, uh, for all these virtual machine 3, all these virtual machine 1, 2, and 3 to connect with each other, we have to uh, do its network configuration. For its network configuration in adapter 1, we have to give it as NA2, NAT, that means network address translation. This is the simplest way of accessing an external network from a virtual machine. This enables the virtual machine. This enables the virtual machine to uh, connect to the internet. In this adapter number 2, we need to set it as host only adapter, because since here uh, one of the machine contains web server, and the second virtual machine consists database. We need to make these all virtual machine to talk to each other. So it is set as host only adapter. This also helps the virtual machine to connect to the our host system as well. So let's check if all these virtual machine can connect with each other or not. This is the virtual machine 2. Let's check if it can connect with virtual machine 1 and 3. To know if it's talking or not, uh, we need to know its IP address. So let's check its IP address by writing this command ifconfig -a. Here we can see the IP address of virtual machine 2 is 192.168.56.101. Similarly, for virtual machine 1, let's see let's see its IP address ifconfig -a. Its IP address is 192.168.56.100. For virtual machine 3, its IP address is ifconfig -a. Its IP address is 192.168.102. So let's check if virtual machine 2 can connect with a virtual machine 1 and 3. So let's write this command ping 192.168.56.100. So we can see that it's receiving as well as transmitting the packets from virtual machine 1, and similarly for virtual machine 3 we can see that it's receiving data packets. Similarly, let's check for virtual machine 1, ping 192.168.56.101 if it can connect with virtual machine 2 or not. So here we can see that it's receiving as well as getting the packets. Similarly, let's check for virtual machine 3. 3, its IP address is at last it's 102. We can see that it's getting the data packets. Now let's check for virtual machine 3 as well if it can connect with these two virtual machines, ping 192.168.168.56.100. Here it's also receiving the data packets, and for virtual machine 2, 192.168.56.101, here it's also receiving data packets. Since here we can clearly see that these all virtual machines can connect with each other. Now let's check for our host machine if it can connect with these all three virtual machines. See, writing the same command, ping 192.168.56.100. Here we can see that it's getting data packets from virtual machine 1. For virtual machine 2, here we can also see it's getting data packets. For virtual machine 3, we can also see it's getting the data packets. So all these virtual machines as well as the host machine are can talk with each other. Now in the next part, we need to in the next part we need to we in the next part we need to access the web application from this virtual machine 3. The web application has been deployed in virtual machine 1. Let's check the web application first of all by running it in virtual machine 1 in the web browser uh, from this Apache web server uh, form.html. This is the web application that I have. This is a simple web application uh, that that uh, in which we have to enter name, email, and message, which will these all data will be stored in the database. The database resides in virtual machine 2. So we need to access this web application from virtual machine 3. So let's check it out. For accessing accessing the web application which is deployed in virtual machine 1, we need to write write its IP address, that is IP address of virtual machine number 1. Its IP address is 192.168.56.100 slash form.html. Here we can see that it's running in this virtual machine 3 as well. So let's write the data name Dipinti Manandhar. Email is dipintimanandhar at gmail.com. Messages, let's check it out for virtual machine 3. Now let's submit it. We can see that data has been stored successfully, and we can see that the data which we have just entered has been stored. Uh, to verify it whether this data has been stored in our database or not, let's check in our database. To check in the database, we need to go to mysql minus u root p. And okay. Let's check it out. My database is Legion. Let's select all from user details. This is my table which contains all the which is used to store all the data which has been inserted from that form. Here we can see that this data has been stored. That is Dipinti Manandar. Check it out for virtual machine 3. Now let's. This is the second part. Here we I have demonstrated that the web application which has been deployed in virtual machine 1 can be accessed through the virtual machine 3 by providing the virtual machine 1's IP address, and then the data is stored in the database. Now uh, the third part is we need to access the same web application from our host machine. So let's check this for our host machine. Since it is it we have similarly we have to write the same IP address of virtual machine 2, virtual machine 1, sorry, 192.168.56.100 slash form.html. Here we can see that uh, the web application is accessible. So let's again check if the data that we write in here is stored in the database or not. So let's write different name. Let's write name as Shanti Manandhar. Email is shanti at gmail.com. Message is checking from host machine. Let's submit it. Here we can see that the data that we have just entered has been successfully stored in the database. So let's check it out from again. Let's again check this out from the virtual machine 2. Mm, use Legion. Legion is my database. Let's select all from user details. Here we can see that the data that we have stored from our host machine has been correctly stored in the database. This is the data that we have just stored in our data stored in the database. So here we have seen that a dummy web application can be accessed from all these virtual machines as well as the host machine, and we can insert the data in the database, and we have also displayed it correctly. Mm, yeah, so this is the working part of our assessment question number 1. Thank you.